This is my 5-year-old M1 MacBook Pro from 2021, and even with all the amazing new MacBooks that Apple has dropped since, I'm still using this in 2026. And that's the beauty of tech these days, because it wasn't that long ago when you pretty much had to upgrade your tech every couple of years because things went obsolete pretty quickly. But these days you can easily get away with using tech from 4, 5, 6, even 7 years ago and still have it do everything that you need. But now the onus is on you in order to actually keep your tech running long enough to get every bit of use out of your device. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can make your MacBook last forever. Or a long time. Forever is a bit of a stretch, but it all starts with before you even make your purchase, because you need to decide how to spec this thing out and configure it properly for your needs. Because the truth is, most people replace their MacBooks not because it got old and outdated, but because they never spec'd it properly for their needs in the long run, and they end up having to upgrade it and therefore spending more money in order to get a new MacBook. But if you bought the right spec from the start, you can save yourself a lot of money in the long run. So before you even buy it, think about what you're gonna need this laptop to be able to do for you for the next 3 to 5 or even 7 years. Now, of course, if you mostly just browse the web, watch videos, answer emails, and do basic work, you don't need to max everything out. A MacBook Air or even the Neo is going to be able to handle all of that. But maybe next year you want to get into video editing, photo editing, coding, design, music production, or heck, maybe you even want to give this whole YouTube thing a try. And that's where buying the cheapest configuration can definitely come back around to bite you, because MacBooks are not easily upgradable. Everything is soldered onto the motherboards. So the choices that you make at checkout are going to follow you around the entire life of your MacBook. So what should you do? If you only have the budget to make one upgrade, make it be RAM. 8 gigabytes can work for basic stuff, and yes, Mac RAM is very efficient because Apple uses unified memory, but at the end of the day, 8 gigabytes is still 8 gigabytes. And if you're not the kind of person who's really good at closing out background apps once you're done using them, or controlling how many Chrome tabs open you have all at one time, that 8 gigabytes is definitely going to feel limiting and is going to tap out really quick. For most people, 16 gigabytes is the sweet spot. It gives you enough breathing room today and helps your laptop age better over the next several years. Now, annoyingly, when it comes to your RAM, one hidden thing that can really slow down your computer that a lot of people don't think about is your browser, because they can be really resource heavy. So if you're using your default browser, you should definitely switch to Opera. Now, I do want to let you know that Opera is sponsoring this, but when I downloaded it to test it, I actually switched to it as my main browser. And the reason for that is that this browser just feels way less chaotic. I'm often working on multiple videos at a time, idea gathering, researching, and have my own personal stuff open too, and just end up with so many tabs open that I just end up losing track of everything. But with Opera, I can organize everything into tab islands where it will automatically group tabs that you open from your existing tab, or you can even drag tabs and group them manually. And now you have organized groups with related tabs that you can collapse, expand, color coordinate, and rename to keep everything organized. And another feature that I've been using a lot is split screen mode. If I'm comparing products or scripting a video while looking at the specs of a phone, I can keep multiple tabs visible at the same time instead of constantly bouncing back and forth. And if you really need to, you can put up to 4 tabs on the screen together at the same time, which honestly is super useful for productivity. The browser also has its own built-in Opera AI, which can access the context of any web page you're currently looking at and answer any questions for you. I love using this on cooking websites because these are always super long and filled with ads, but using the built-in AI feature, I can just ask it to give me the cooking instructions without having to go through and find it manually. And aesthetically, Opera also just has way more personality than any other browser. You can change the entire look with different themes, animated wallpapers, custom colors, even sounds. Personally, I love the Aurora one because it gives your browser a nice calming feel, and this just makes your browser much more customizable and allows you to set it up to your own preference, which I really love. If you guys want to download Opera or check it out for yourself, I'll leave a link in the description below. Now, when it comes to storage, that part is also really important, and that was actually my main regret with the M1 MacBook Pro that I got, because I got this in the 512 gigabyte version, and as I became a YouTuber, that was definitely not enough. And it's definitely really annoying because this laptop is still perfectly capable to handle all of my workload, video editing, anything that I need, but there's just not enough storage on here, and I have to constantly delete files or carry SSDs around with me, which I do not like to do. So I wish I did upgrade this a little bit more when I first bought it. Now here's something a lot of people don't mention, and that is that the screen size on these MacBooks is actually also a really important factor when it comes to making a decision, because the smaller 13-inch MacBooks are definitely nice and compact. They're very travel friendly. And if you're somebody who has like a dedicated workstation where you keep your MacBook plugged into an external monitor and you're always working off of a big monitor, then the smaller sizes are definitely great. But I'm somebody who actually moves around with their laptop. I don't just sit at this table all the time. I like to work at my kitchen counter. I like to work on the couch. I take it outside with me sometimes on a nice day on my patio furniture. So having a big screen on here is definitely important for me. I always go for the bigger variant. So definitely make sure you know your lifestyle, how you're going to use your MacBook, and which screen size you want. And finally, you have to make a decision between the MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, the MacBook Air is definitely capable of most of the things that you need it for. Even I can get away with the MacBook Air. They're definitely very portable, they're light, and they're very powerful, so you can use a MacBook Air. The reason I would go personally with a MacBook Pro is because I like the extra ports and the bigger screen size. All right, now that you have spec'd and configured your MacBook and chosen the one that you know you need, the next thing that you're gonna need to do to protect it long term is obviously to not damage it. Now, I will be honest, these things are incredibly resilient. I am not really somebody who babies their tech. I don't really care to put it in a sleeve and just treat it nicely. I'm okay with kind of beating it up a little bit. And I have put this MacBook through a lot. I've spilled yogurt on it. My kids ripped the weather sealing strip from around the display. And this thing still works perfectly in 2026. The hinge is still perfectly fine. None of the keys are sticking. The trackpad works perfect, and there's no issues physically with it. But that doesn't mean that one bad drop or spilling coffee on it won't absolutely end this thing's life. I just got lucky, so definitely be sure you're careful with it and you protect it physically. The next thing you're going to want to do to protect your laptop is avoid any heat. Now, Apple Silicon MacBooks are really good with heat management. They're super efficient and don't overheat easily, but they're not magic. Heat is still one of the biggest long-term enemies of electronics, especially batteries. So try to avoid the obvious situations that make it hotter than it needs to be. For example, using it on a hard surface or putting it on a laptop stand is way smarter than using it on a blanket, couch, or a bed. And also remember that charging plus heavy tasks equals serious heat. So if you're going to be charging this thing while exporting a video sitting in the sun, you're going to set this thing on fire. All right, the next thing you're going to want to do to ensure the longevity of your laptop is to manage the storage. Now, if you followed my advice from step one and spec your MacBook appropriately for your needs right from the start, this won't be as big of a problem for you. But a big reason for needing to manage your storage is that macOS and any other computer needs free space to breathe. It needs room for updates, temporary files, app caches, downloads, background tasks, video exports, and all the normal stuff happening behind the scenes. And storage also matters because of swap memory, which is a very important function of your laptop. Now, memory swap basically means that when your MacBook runs low on RAM, it can use a part of the SSD storage as temporary memory. And that's totally normal. Silicon MacBooks are actually really good at this, but if your SSD is full, that becomes a problem because now your RAM is full, your SSD is full, and your MacBook has no room to play with, and things really start slowing down. Now for me, the big things to move off of the internal drives are video projects, raw footage, old exports, photo libraries, and I often have to clean out the downloads folder, any zip files, screenshots, PDF, random videos, all of that stuff piles up, so you're definitely gonna wanna clean up any of that stuff that you don't need. All right, the next thing that you're gonna wanna do to make sure that your laptop stays healthy in the long term is to make sure that you're downloading the latest updates. Now, this one is a little bit of a tricky one because yes, you should keep your MacBook updated, but you also don't need to install every major update the second Apple releases it. I would wait a couple of weeks just to make sure that no one is reporting any major issues, and definitely do not do any beta testing on your personal machine. So for the major yearly OS updates like macOS 25, macOS 26, macOS 27, don't be the first one to download that onto your computer. Give it a couple of weeks, let all the other people deal with the bugs, and wait for Apple to patch it before downloading it onto your own laptop. All right, the next thing that you're gonna wanna do is make sure that you're backing up your MacBook. And I know this is one of the least exciting things to do, but at the end of the day, your MacBook is just hardware. It's just pieces of electronics. And if you ever lose your MacBook or you break it, you can always get a new one. But all of your data, your photos, your memories, your videos, your files, your documents, your contracts, all that stuff is a lot more important. And if you ever lose it, that is going to be a lot more painful than having to repurchase this, because that stuff you cannot get back. Now, the easiest way to do this is with Time Machine. It's built right into macOS and lets you back up your Mac to an external drive. You can, of course, also encrypt it with a password. So if you ever lose your drive or somebody steals it, no one can restore your backups and gain access to your data. And that's it. That's literally all you have to do to back up your data. I would say do it at least once every 6 months, once a year at least. So if you ever do lose your MacBook or it gets stolen or it breaks, you can at least recover some of your data. All right, now let's talk about some of the things that you might be stressing about that you actually don't even need to worry about when it comes to the longevity of your MacBook. And the first one is battery life. What? Did he say battery life? That's crazy. I know, it sounds crazy because your battery is the most important thing for the longevity of your MacBook, and it's usually the first thing to go. But the reason that I say not to worry about your battery life so much is because chasing after battery life is going to ruin your whole experience with using a laptop. There's so many rules. Keep it between 20 and 80%. Keep it plugged in. Don't charge it all the way. Don't let it die. Charge it overnight. Charge it at a specific time. Keep the temperature normal. If you're going to be worrying about all of these things, you're going to drive yourself crazy and you're just doing too much. And on top of that, your MacBook is really good at managing the battery health on its own. It has optimized battery charging. It learns your habits. And if you do need to keep your MacBook plugged in at a desk permanently, that's also not the disaster that most people think it is. You can cap your battery to 80% and the MacBook will never go over that, and it will completely bypass the battery and run directly from the power adapter instead. So you can keep it plugged in all the time and you don't have to worry about any issues or heat buildup. And at the end of the day, your battery is a consumable component. Whether you like it or not, is going to degrade over time. And if it ever comes to a point where your battery is just not lasting long enough and it's starting to stress you out and it's just not enough for what you need, you can always replace it for pretty cheap. It's not that expensive to go into Apple and have them do a battery replacement, and now you have a brand new laptop. And you didn't have to live like a crazy person for 5 years. And the last thing that you don't need to worry about is shutting it down every time that you go to sleep. I think I went one time like 140 something days without shutting it down. You can actually check the uptime of how long your MacBooks have been running. These things are great. They do not slow down at all. If you've been around for the like 2000s era of Windows PCs, you know that you had to shut that thing down like multiple times a day because things would get constantly bogged down, things would stop working, and you just had to restart it for things to run smoothly. MacBooks, thankfully, are not like that. You can keep this thing on all the time. And I'm not talking about closing it. I'm talking about going into the power menu and actually shutting it down. This is called sleep mode. You can do that all you want. But there you go, guys. That is how you can keep your wonderful MacBook running for years to come. And if you're curious about the M1 MacBook Pro specifically, I actually made a video about it. And if you want to know if you should save some money and buy this in 2026, check out this video right here. But that's going to do it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.